Rell Seas is not releasing. And that is what a lot of people are now saying about Rell Seas, which if you don't know what Rell Seas is, it's literally the most hyped One Piece game to ever be released on Roblox, or probably to ever be released, period. The hype behind Rell Seas is insane, and everybody's waiting for this game. But right now, on 2025, we still have no release. We still can't play the game yet. By the way, my name is AB's Gaming. I cover Blox Fruits, Rell Seas, and some other games on Roblox. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's move on to today's video. So, I was on the Anime Vanguards Discord. So Anime Vanguards is a game, a tower defense game. This is because, I'm covering Anime Vanguards in my other channel, the AB Plays channel. And I actually asked, is Rell Seas actually ever releasing here? Just to test out what people think. Because these people are also players of Rell Seas, players of Blox Fruits. They also play those games. And take a look at the comments here. It's shits. Can't wait for my grandkids to play Rell Seas. It's a myth and you believe that it's true. The amount of people doubting Rell Seas now is actually crazy. And when I mentioned to some of my other friends that I was actually going to start covering Rell Seas on this AB's Gaming channel because I don't cover Blox Fruits anymore. I used to cover Blox Fruits, but now I'm starting to move away from covering Blox Fruits and starting to cover other stuff on this channel. A lot of people actually said, when I said I'm gonna be covering Rell Seas until, when it releases, and then I'm gonna start posting videos about it, then a friend of mine said, you're going to be posting for forever then, because Rell Seas is never releasing. That is now, it shocks me that is now the common consensus, or one of the most common beliefs of people that aren't Rell Seas glazers right now on the internet, at least. If you ask most people that aren't Rell Seas glazers, they are now quite skeptical about the release of Rell Seas. Now, I personally, I'm gonna say this right now, I personally still believe that Rell Seas will be releasing eventually, and I'm gonna kind of talk about that later on as well, on why Rell Seas is, taking so long. But now, because they've been working on Rell Seas ever since 2025, I believe, and now if you've been working for a game until like 2025, that is actually absolutely crazy. They've been working on this ever since, not 2025. I think 2022, 2023 is when they started working on Rell Seas, and it's now 2025. So it's been about 3 years, something like that, since they started working on Rell Seas. They said they were going to release in 2024. They didn't release in 2024. Now it's 2025, and I believe they're saying that they're going to release at the end of 2025. And here's my take on this, right? Here's my 2 cents on this. If Rell Seas doesn't release at the end of 2025, the doubters and the amount of people, and I myself included, I will now personally start being more skeptical of Rell Seas, because it's been so long since this game started, development. The fact that it still hasn't been released right now, and the fact that it's still in testing, is low-key shocking. And the fact that it might not actually get released in 2025 is just absurd. I feel like what they should have done with Rell Seas is, instead of, adding so many different stuff, they should have just made Rell Seas, add, the basics of what they can added some unique mechanics, polished the game, and released it. And they could add all the other stuff that they wanted to add as updates. And then that way, we probably would have had Rell Seas right now, and we probably would already be enjoying this game. But no, they just keep on adding new stuff. And because of that, that's not necessarily bad. But the bad thing about that is it's now taking ages. It's genuinely now to the point where a lot of people believe that Rell Seas is never going to release. And I don't blame them, because if you have been watching and supporting a Roblox game and it hasn't been released after like 2-3 years, then I would honestly start being skeptical. I would honestly start doubting that game even more. But is Rell Seas not going to release? I 100% believe that Rell Seas will release. The thing about Rell Seas is, like I said, is that the developers have been adding so much stuff to Rell Seas. They've been adding so much new mechanics, so much new maps, so much new everything. They're trying to make it the biggest game on Roblox ever. They're trying to make it basically be bigger than Roblox, is what I'm saying. They're trying to make an actual really great One Piece game that's not just a slop, Roblox game. That's what they're trying to do. And because of that, they are taking so much longer with this project, which is fine. But again, I kind of feel like instead of adding all these mechanics and all these, new stuff, they should just settle down, calm down, focus on getting the game out, Focus on getting the game out as fixed and as polished as possible, and then add all the other things you want later as updates. That would 100% be better instead of, adding all the ideas you have, because they're never gonna run out of ideas, right? If they want to add everything they want to add to the game right now before releasing it, then we're gonna be waiting for Rell Seas until like 2028, because they're never gonna run out of ideas. So my honest opinion on this is they should just release the game, right? Stop adding new stuff. Focus on polishing the game, get the game out by the end of 2025, and then, support the game through consistent updates. That is the best course of action, because now there's a lot of people who believe this game will never release. And honestly, that's my take on Rell Seas. It's not never gonna release. It is going to release, but now there are more and more people being skeptical about this game, and it's because it's been on development for so long. We've been talking about release dates for forever now, and it's still not here. So yeah, this game should release right now in 2025. Otherwise, if it doesn't release in 2025, the amount of doubters and the amount of skeptical people will just grow even further, and it might come to the point where people just don't care anymore. That's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Rell Seas will be releasing, but when is the question? Because honestly, it could be by the end of 2025, it could be 2026, it could even be 2027, right? But it will release eventually, and whether or not it's going to be during the time we want it to release or just whenever it's done is the question here. And what I mean by that is, are we going to be able to play this on our lifetime, or is it going to be our kids that are going to be able to play it, essentially? That's it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Peace out.